I saw her today. This exact girl, only she didn't look human. There's some kind of connection between her, the old carnival, and the Miles County clown. What if you're connected too?
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Burns Views. My name is John, and today we are talking about why the little pale girl is most likely not in Terrifier 3. But before we begin, if you could, be sure to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe. It really does help the channel a lot. You guys have been amazing. I can't thank you enough for the big surge of subscribers beginning lately. However, it's crazy when you think about how some of these videos have like 100,000 views, 70,000 views, 40,000 views, and then I'm like, we're at 12,000 subs, and we're trying to get sponsors, but they say we need more subscribers, and I hate asking because it's so cheesy. But if you could, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe. It does help the channel a lot. And without any further ado, let's get into it. So I was watching Terrifier 2 at the commentary track from Damien Leone, and he had some interesting things to say about the little pale girl. The little pale girl is probably one of the most interesting and mysterious characters to emerge from the Terrifier franchise. Writer-director Damien Leone got the idea when he saw many of his female fans dressing up as Art the Clown, and he had to jump on board before somebody else did the character. Leone has defined the character as an apparition, an embodiment of evil that has resurrected Art the Clown. One of her qualities is that she can't be seen by most people. The only people that she can be seen by is Art the Clown, Jonathan, and final girl herself, Sienna Shaw. As stated in our earlier videos, which you can find right here, check the description down below, she's actually a person named Emily Crane, but according to Leone, we don't actually know her role yet before becoming the Pale Girl. Although based on these clippings, she might be the daughter of some famous circus performers. Damien has compared Art the Clown to the Joker, but when I hear this, I actually think of the Triangle Gang from Batman Returns, or even the Flying Graysons for that matter. According to Leone on the DVD commentary, her main objective is that she's leading Art to Sienna's friends in order to take out everybody that she cares about.
Look at her, I'm breaking her down, I'm making her feel worthless.
When we get to the nightclub scene, the film establishes more rules about the character, that she's actually able to touch Sienna, and that she is clearly, as Leone put it, in some sort of middle dimension in regards to Jonathan and Sienna. The little pale girl can also speak and impersonate the voice of others.
I'm at the old carnival. I'm all alone.
Which is something that Art the Clown can't do, but Beetlejuice can.
I'm Lydia Dietz and I'm of sound mind. Yes, I love that man of mine.
When addressing this, Leone said, "There's a lot of things that the character can do that we simply don't know about yet." Again, referring to her as an evil apparition or an evil force. But she is definitely a representation of evil that is leading Art on his journey, stating that Art and Sienna are on opposite sides of the spectrum, that's two different roads leading to the same endpoint. Leone mentioned that The Glowing Eyes was a homage to one of his favorite Stephen King movies, Salem's Lot, where vampires such as Kurt Barlow would terrorize a small town in Maine, which is pretty typical for a Stephen King story. Funny enough, the most iconic scene in the movie is that of the appearance of Ralphie Glick, hanging outside the window. In the story, Ralphie is a child that was made into a human sacrifice during an appeasement ritual, which makes you wonder, doesn't it? That perhaps Art the Clown sacrificed Emily Crane as a means of obtaining his powers. Very much in the same way that Chucky has made appeasements to Damballa to obtain supernatural powers that he has.
Give me the power I beg of you!
You could also argue that perhaps Sienna's father could have been the one who made a deal with the devil in some way, but that's another theory for another video. So what happened to the little pale girl? Why is she not in Terrifier 3? At the end of Terrifier 2, she scared the hell out of Sienna by appearing as her dead mother.
That's not mommy!
Fucked off, and then came back at the very end to collect Art the Clown's head after being vanquished by Sienna, which, as prophesized, cut his damn head off. Although, that does look like the devil, and I still have lots of questions. It seems only natural, or supernatural, that she would at very least appear in the beginning of Terrifier 3 to pick up where things left off. But she isn't. She isn't on the IMDb page, and when looking at pictures from Silver Screen Con this year, she's the only actor that has Terrifier 2 under her name and not Part 3. I mean, even the guy from Scary Movie has Terrifier 3 to his name, so what gives? So it got me thinking. I went digging deeper into the T2 commentary, and I think I found my answer. At the end of the film, Damien says something about the post-credits scene that's very telling about Victoria Hayes' character. He said, "The reveal is that she's already becoming more and more possessed. and she is fully possessed by the Pale Girl at the end of this, as you see by her glowing eyes. Leone also pointed out that if you notice the way Hayes is holding Art's head, it's the same way the Pale Girl's holding it here. It's exactly the same. As if holding a baby, very similar. Now we could go into Terrifier 1 and talk about how there was the lady that also had the fake baby, and maybe she's connected to all this, but once again, that's a theory for another video.
Can you show no mercy?
But yeah, that's pretty much extensively how you know these characters are one and the same. Now, going back to my Terrifier 2 video, linked down below, we've talked about the glowing eyes before in the past, how it represents possession. We've seen Sienna's father, I mean Art the Clown, possessed with the yellow eyes in All Hallows Eve. We've seen the Pale Girl, and now obviously Victoria Hayes. But I guess the better question is, who is possessing these previously alive Art the Clown victims from the other side of the Hell Portal? I'm glad you asked. Very recently, Bloody Disgusting released some character posters for Terrifier 3, in which Victoria Hayes can be seen here referred to as the Witch.
Well, she turned me into a newt. A newt. I got better.
And yes, Damien Leone is using vessels in the story. Look it up.
The father was sort of a vessel for that good that needs to get to Sienna. And he was the one who started getting the visions. He, not understanding why necessarily or what's happening, but he knew he had to get the sword for Sienna. He knew that she was meant for something important, and because of that, he was also channeling the bad force that was coming in, the evil entity that was going to be the counterpart to that good. It was all starting to come through, and that's why he was becoming abusive, and all of this going on inside of him manifested itself into a physical tumor that eventually made him go crazy and himself. He was the vessel. It was all channeling through him, and he was supplying Sienna with what she needed to go forward on her journey. It was an essential sacrifice on his part, which is another classic biblical mythic theme.
But that's more about Sienna's dad, and as we said, that's a whole different video. But as far as being the vessel on the side of evil, I think it's pretty clear at this point that the entity that has been channeling their way through both the Pale Girl and Victoria Hayes is most likely the demon witch that has been seen stirring the pot both literally and physically in All Hallows Eve. We don't know much about her, but in a nutshell, for those who haven't seen it, we find out that Satan has demons in the Ninth Circle, that it's been doing his bidding and abducting innocent victims on Earth, bringing them to hell, getting them pregnant, drinking their blood, and then, you know, sending them out to pasture. I think this evil witch right here is the evil entity that Damien has been hiding behind the curtain the whole time. I mean, it's possible that it could also be the evil-looking psycho right here, because she seems to have similar movements to the Pale Girl, but I think it's either one or the other. And you know, much like the Devil's Advocate, or Rosemary's Baby, the devil wants to create a certain kind of antichrist, so that he can piss off God, take over the world, and you know, you get the idea. Hail Satan!
Hail Satan!
And the only thing stopping him is Sienna, who extensively functions as the One. Much like Neo in The Matrix, much like JC in the Bible.
Just figured if you're gonna follow in someone's footsteps, who better than Christ?
Also, outside of the lore for practical reasons, it's the best move, right? I think it makes sense to make these changes because a lot of time has passed, and you run the risk of it becoming like a Stranger Things situation, where the little Pale Girl has gotten older, she's gotten taller, kind of like Jonathan. It's kind of hard to rationalize her having her play the same part when she's supposed to be locked in time as this little girl that was killed a couple years ago. She's also gone on to be a cast member of General Hospital, so I can see there being several reasons for Damien for making these changes. He also said in the Terrifier 1 commentary that he loves working with Samantha Scafidi, who plays Victoria Hayes. He wanted to get her more screen time because he kind of felt like she got shortchanged in part 1, giving more screen time to her younger sister. And you know what? I think it works. She feels very different in this movie. She looks like she's been burnt to a crisp or something. But what do you think? Do you think we're going to see the little Pale Girl? Maybe she'll pop back in part 4. They confirmed it. Part 4 is officially happening, so comment down below. I have been John here in Burns Reviews. We will see you next time.
Drop on by the Clown Cafe. Drop on by the Clown Cafe. The grub is downright gruesome, but your appetites obey. 'Cause food's a little funny. Food's a little funny. Food's a little